Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Rana here, and today in this video I'll be showing you how I achieved this orange hair color. Went from black to orange, and so I know you're interested. That's the reason you clicked on this video, so let's get right into it. So I started off with blow drying her hair just to stretch it out. I don't normally do this, but her hair was in a ponytail for a while, so I just wanted to get it as straight without straightening it as possible. And so this was the easier and quicker method. I do apologize about the angle. When I looked at it at first, I thought it was at a perfect angle. Then I realized and watched it back that it was mainly showing my arm. So my fault, y'all. So we'll be using my go-tos, which is the Clairol BW2 Power Lightener and Salon Care 30 Volume Developer. So I already mixed it off camera. If you guys watch my other video, I do not measure. I just know what consistency I'm looking for with the lightener. And also, as you can see, she is completely draped. Double draped at that. You just want to protect her and her skin as much as possible. So I started off with dividing it into fours, just making it a little bit easier for me. So now you want to just get started and start off with smaller parts. Right here was a pretty decent amount. I know that I'm going to saturate it very well, so I knew that I was fine also. And I can see the towel up underneath, so I know that it's not too thick. So you just want to clean your brush off on all sides. You can use a napkin or paper towel, whichever one. And just making sure that the application is as clean as possible when you start applying it on the hair. And also, just in case it's a little higher up on the brush, you don't want to just have it get messy. You want it to go exactly where you put it on the hair. All right, and here comes the fun part. So you just want to make sure that the lightener is completely saturated inside of the hair, and I am pretty much just sort of a balayage method-ish. Not quite, but sort of similar. And so you'll see right here with my left hand how I have lightener still on my hands, and I realized it too late. You want to have a towel or paper towel, whichever one, and cleaning off your hands in between sections. To be honest, that's nothing that I really learned, just something I picked up on, because again, as you can see, the hair that's parted where the pink clip is lightener. If I didn't necessarily want lightener to be right there, now I have a mistake made. So just try to keep it as clean as possible, and if you need to, just clean your hands after each section. It may take a little longer and add time to your service, but hey, for me it works, and I just kind of roll with it. So I just sort of split the hair in half and just continue on. And I do each piece the exact same way. Again, sort of that V shape. You want to check your saturation, just making sure that you are putting enough on there. Saturation is very important when it comes to hair color, hair lightener, anything like that. Any chemical really that has to go all the way through the hair. You don't want anything up underneath to be left out, because if it's hair color, now you have spots because all the hair isn't colored, or if you're doing a relaxer and all of the hair underneath isn't completely saturated, now you still have some curly hair. So saturating is very, very important, and you just want to make sure that you are good. This is a better view of the V shape that I keep speaking about. It is, again, the balayage method. And this just helps really a lot, so it's not that harsh line of demarcation, because you don't want it to be a complete horizontal line of where you can just see the hair color right next to your natural hair color. You want it to kind of fade in a little bit and look so much nicer, so much prettier, because having a harsh line is not cute at all. I have seen it many of times. The only time a harsh line will be okay is if your entire head had been colored before and now it's growing out. That's the only time I will accept it. But in this case, if you are going to just do it like this, just do it the balayage way. If you want to do it ombre way, however, just do not have a complete line going from side to side, because it just don't look good. It just don't. And just an FYI, I did not speed up this part of the video. For the lightener in the back, I did not speed up, but for the front right of her head, it is sped up. So if you are anxiously waiting just for the color, you are already a pro at the lightener, which is great. Then just skip on to 15 minutes exact, and that is when the orange starts. I just feel like this is just as important as the color itself, because this is how you get to have that such beautiful light and bright color, which is starting off with this process. So for my beginners, keep on watching, but for the pros and advanced folks, just go ahead and skip right ahead. I did go ahead and speed up this part of the video, and that's only because it is the exact same thing that I'm doing in the back. The only different thing is that these parts are not as wide as the back. So with that, some of these I am doing double V's in a smaller section, and that's because with it being in the front of the hair and on the top, it is shown the most, of course, and it looks differently than the back. So you'll see it once I start it, and once I apply the color, you'll also understand what I'm saying if you don't already. All right, so now that that part is done and out of the way, we can finally get to why we are here today for this video. We can get to this beautiful hair color of ours. So you just want to make sure that the hair is as dry as possible without any strings in it. And then you want to just go ahead and apply the color right on top of this. And you can section it however you want. If you do it starting off in the back, if you start off in the front. To me, that's not a huge thing that I pay attention to. If I do it in the back, I make sure that the front sits as long as it does in the back. So that way everything is going to be the exact same color So I don't have any issues with that. And I almost got started before I showed you all what I used. So I used the Adore, and I used two different colors. So I used the French Cognac, and the other one was 72 Paprika. That's all I used. I put both of those in a bowl, mixed it up, and slapped it on the hair. And just so you all know, just in case this is your first time seeing this color being done, and if you're doing it by yourself for the first time, don't freak out that it's not the exact same color that you want right away, or even once you let it sit that it's not what you want, because it will be darker for a fact. It will not get as light as you want it to be while it is sitting on your hair. So do not freak out. Everything will be just fine, and you have picked the right color. You just have to let it sit for a while and then wash it out, so that way you can have that nice pretty color that you're looking for. So from this point forward, I will be parting the hair so that way all of it falls to the back of her head and not on the sides. I just don't like it when a client's ears are dirty from the hair color, or it's all on their face. I don't like that. So I would prefer to do it this way, just so that way it is a nicer treatment for them and experience, and that way it's not getting all on their face, because some clients may have on a full face of makeup. You never know. So to avoid all of that, I just apply the hair and part it so that way it all falls to the back, and you'll see as I go along how I do it. this is me finishing up the right side. I did not record the left side because it is all of the same thing. So right now I just wanted to kind of cross-check my work, just making sure that everything was saturated and that there were no blonde spots left from the bleach. Just making sure that everything was orange and how I needed it to be. And just kind of right here, just me going through checking. Even though I was checking as I was going, it's still best to double check. And so this was pretty much it for the hair color. So this is about 15 minutes after I put all of the color on, just so you can kind of see what it looks like as it's sitting. And this is what we have come here for today. So my camera wasn't completely focused, so the color was a little differently. So I used the Tresemme heat protectant, my Awapui Hydro Mist blowout spray from Paul Mitchell. And I used 2 different oils just because my first oil I ran out of. So this was the Paul Mitchell Super Skinny. I ran out of that. Probably had a few pumps left of that. So then I went in with the Cream of Nature treatment oil. This part here for the rest of the video will be sped up. It is just me blow drying the hair using my Denman brush. That is the Paul Mitchell styling brush. I want to say 407, I think the number is. Can't remember, but it's one of my favorite brushes to use on texture hair to get all of those curls out when you're blow drying, just to make sure that it gets straight as possible. So that way when it's time to flat iron, it is easy to do and you're not fighting against curls. But anywho, so again, the rest of this video is me just styling the hair. I wanted to get this part in the video also, just so you can see how everything comes together with the lightening, with the balayage method, with the color, just seeing how it looks when it's straightened out. And so that is pretty much it for the rest of this video. Like, this color is seriously the bomb. And what's crazy is just how it happened with my hair color. I went to one of my closest beauty supply stores. It was by my job, and I was trying to get a different color. I was trying to get ginger by Adore, and they didn't have any. And to be honest, I just didn't want to go to a different store because I knew that this would still be a good result. So I just stuck with that, and it turned out to be so pretty. I'm glad I went with what I got. Not saying the ginger would not have been pretty, but I really like these results that came from it, especially since my cousin showed me a picture and this looks exactly like the one she wanted. So that was perfect. She's happy, I'm happy, and I'm just glad it turned out exactly how she wanted it to be. Because that is the goal, right? To have your clients, you know, be happy and have their hair the exact same color as the picture. Because we all know as hairstylists that that is not the easiest thing. So for that to be achieved, that is an awesome feeling for me. So I always like to ask my clients which side they want their part on, just making sure that when I am blow drying it, I am doing it in the correct direction. And that way, when it comes to flat ironing, it is just so much easier instead of fighting against it when it's going the wrong direction, because you don't want to blow dry it in one direction and then now you're trying to flat iron it in a different direction. It just makes it more difficult, and I am all about having things easy and simple. So this works best for me. Not saying that you can't do it that way and it won't work, but this is what works for me. So just right here, I put on a little Nairobi, and that's just to get that part a little bit cleaner and a little bit straighter. And that has been helping me a little bit too. I just started using that honestly, and it's been working. So I will continue to use it if it's, no issue for me. All right, now for the styling, you want to use Cantu oil sheen, and you don't want to go crazy with it because I just used oil before I blow dried it, and you don't want to weigh the hair down. That's the last thing you want to do. But if it is dry, it needs to be moisturized, then of course use as much as you need to, not too much. And my flat iron, I use the Remington flat iron. I got it from Walmart. It was a while ago. I think it was about $30 or so. And this is just me straightening the hair, nothing too fancy. We discussed that I would trim it afterwards, and I did not film me trimming. So this is just me kind of straightening everything so you can see how the color turned out. But this is not the full style of it, how it was when I got finished with it. As I'm styling, you can see that there are no harsh lines of demarcation. Everything just fades from her dark natural roots to the orange. Of course, with her roots being jet black, there will be a contrast, but everything just fades nicely how it was supposed to. And that was, again, me using the balayage method. I don't only use that method. I use, the regular ombre method as well, but with this you can see how it turned out, which was nicely. So if you wanted to use this method, then yours will be, similar to it. Just if you do it a little differently, yours would be different, but this is how it could turn out. So I will say that I tried to focus the camera on what I was doing versus the TV, but this little minute or so is not showing what I'm doing. I'm just straightening her bang and just, curling it a little bit. Again, not too much because I am about to trim it afterwards, but I'm sorry for this little part. It is not showing what I am doing. So this is the angle I should have had that last part in, so I'm sorry, but this is pretty much how it turned out. So for anyone that sat and watched the entire thing, I want to thank you for your time and patience. I know it was a little lengthy, but just don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and I will catch you all next time.